You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
Okay, welcome. Come on in, join the party. We've got a special guest today, has been in the coaching program for a while now, so I'm excited to hear all about his deals that he's been doing. So we'll introduce him in just a second. While we're waiting for everybody to come on, do me a favor and introduce yourself to me, please, and let me know if I don't know who you are, where you're from, what you've been up to, where, do you own a facility or not own a facility? I would love to hear your story. Okay. So in the chat, introduce yourself to me and let me know where you're located at. All right. So good. We already got Jennifer. Yes. Jennifer, I hope you got my message. We're definitely going to get you on to hear your story the next time, okay? Because Paul is coming on today, and we're going to have Paul come in. I see you, Kiko is here, and David, and Deborah, and Matt. I see a lot of the same people coming in saying hi, so that's cool. Everybody say hi. Introduce yourself. Let's see who else is here. Deborah, Donald, Matt is here. Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming and hopping in. And introduce yourself in the chat and just let everybody know whether or not you own a storage facility, if you're a newbie or not. And then today, what we're going to do is we're going to have a special guest. Paul Beats is going to come on, and he's been in the coaching program now for, I don't know how long, actually, a year. And so he'll tell his story. More than a year now. So he'll tell his story on like how he got started in self-storage investing and what he's doing now. So exciting. Before we get started on that, just want to remind you guys of a quick couple of things that are coming up. Okay. The doors to Storage Nerds are opening up on May 1st. May 1st. Okay. So if you have been thinking about, getting into a coaching program, and you're like one of these people that's just like, no, I'm definitely going to buy me some storage facilities. The next year, I need to buy me a storage facility. Then highly consider that you get on the wait list for Storage Nerds and then set up an appointment with me. All those that are on the wait list get notified first. And I only am taking calls for 6 days. So in a 2-week period, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I do calls all day long. And then you can just ask me questions about the coaching program, and I can tell you how it works and things like that. So that opens on May 1st. So Ariel Lynn will put the link to the coaching program into the chat, so that you guys can sign up for the wait list. Another thing is that we're going to be offering, as of May 1st, Storage Nerds acquisitions. You get to hire my acquisitions team to look for facilities for you. So I'm really excited about that. And you can go out and get your own VAs if you want to. And actually, Paul does this, and he's going to tell you how he does this. But if you don't want to hire VAs and manage them, then you can always use our team to do that. We're offering that only to Storage Nerds lifetime members. So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you set up an appointment with me through the wait list, and we can chat about that as well too. I'm only going to take a handful of people because this is like our first time doing this. And I have the whole acquisitions team set up. We've got 4. We're hiring 2 more people right now. So I'm really excited about that. And we'll just keep hiring people and managing them to get out there. And they build lists, and they call owners, and they talk to owners is what they do. So you don't have to do that work. And they'll do all the deal analysis, and we'll just basically submit deals to you is what we'll do. So I'm really excited about that. And then another thing is that REI USA students are here. So if you're an REI USA student or an REI USA member, then, say hi to me, because this is now in conjunction with REI USA. I own REI USA. And so all the members of REI USA, I invited them to come to this webinar anytime that they want. They can come and listen to me. REI USA is an online platform for people to learn how to invest in real estate, any type of real estate, not just storage, but like Airbnbs and land and notes and flipping and wholesaling and all kinds of stuff. Us teachers, we teach people how to invest in all different types of real estate transactions. So please check out REI USA. we are going to be doing another May 7th, a virtual summit. It's called Raising Capital. And all of the coaches, all the teachers from REI USA are going to get on and they're going to talk about how they're raising money. So I'll talk about how I raise money. And then somebody that's doing like Mike McKenzie, he does land. He's going to talk about how he raises money to buy land and how like Yukiko is actually here as well too. Yukiko is a teacher for REI USA. She's going to talk about how she raises money for her apartment buildings that she buys. She buys small multifamily apartments. So if you are interested in learning how to raise money, I highly recommend that you sign up for REI USA and you come to the virtual summit. All right. Okay, good. Let's see what else is there. Our boot camp, our Storage Nerds boot camp is coming up in May as well too. So make sure that if you're interested in the 2-day boot camp, you join on the Storage Nerds program. And am I missing anything, Mary Ellen? I can't remember if I'm missing anything. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us today. So I want to introduce you guys to Paul. Paul joined the coaching program over a year ago. And I remember Paul, I think Paul is like the female version, is the male version of me, not the female, the male version, because he's a hustler. He gets out there, he takes action. He's like, no, I'm going to buy some storage facilities. And I like him. And also I teach people, find them, fund them, run them. And I feel like, Paul, you tell me if you're wrong, but I feel like you are the funding person. Do you do a lot of the fundraising is what you do?
I have a partner that I've brought on. And what I found is, I have always started out and I've raised a lot of money for a lot of my residential deals myself. And so when I partnered up with my partner, of course, we have complementary skill sets. And so it turns out that both my partner and I do run, both are able to raise money, which is a really nice skill to have. But what I found is from like a bank perspective, underwriting, stuff like that, my partner, he enjoys that, he prefers that. And then from a run it perspective, the operations, collecting the cash, doing some of the marketing, that process, my wife and I are more skilled at. My wife runs an Airbnb property management company. And so we're really more focused on the operations side. So it's great to have a partner that we have complementary skill sets. But both of us can do both things. It's just what he prefers to do and what I prefer to do.
Good. I like it. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do today. Is he is already on his third deal right now. And so we're going to talk about for each of the deals, how you found them and funded them. And for the ones that you actually own, you can get into the running part as well too.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we can start off with whichever one that you want to start off. I guess your first one, maybe. Tell everybody how you found your first deal.
Yeah, so I don't have a slide for my first one. I didn't realize I was going to have a whole hour to talk. So we're going to do the best we can to stretch this out a little bit. The first deal that I actually found it myself. So when I joined StorageNerds in like November of 2020, and we got our first deal under contract in February. It fell through, and then we found this deal. And the way I found it is exactly as Stacy teaches, is just essentially driving for storage through Google Maps. And found the facility. We skip traced the owner because he held it in a trust, using the skip tracing company that the Stacy recommended. And the first phone number on the skip trace was him, and he answered. And I pitched him the idea of buying a self-storage facility. He and I went back and forth on purchase price. It wasn't really the price where we wanted to be, but it was still within range. And so we agreed on price, and we ended up financing it. So again, my partner and I, we own quite a bit of residential property in Indiana, Indianapolis and Terre Haute. And so my partner had a bank contact that he had done some financing with. And so we approached him, and we got just unbelievable terms from a commercial lender. I think it was 4.25 fixed for 5 years, and then it adjusts, and then another 5 years, and then after 10, we have to refinance or a balloon. We got interest only the first 12 months, which was really nice because we are doing a build out of the facility, and I might bring up some of the pictures and stuff of the facility. We haven't, unfortunately, broken ground. We've hit some zoning headwinds, but in the meantime, we raised some capital. So again, we've got quite a few capital partners, equity partners that we brought to the deal. They brought in their money, and we used that as a down payment, and we raised a little bit for CapEx. So, there was some damage to the storage building. And so we got all that straightened out, and it was about 50% occupied. And we really didn't have any leases. I mean, it was really rough. It was in rough shape. It does have a commercial office space, 3,000 square foot of commercial office space that was rented out. And part of the deal of purchasing it was that that lease would be renewed. So we ended up renewing that lease, and it pays almost $3,000 a month. So the property cash flowed without the storage at all, which is really nice. And just a minute here, I'm gonna.
How did you find your partners, your capital partners?
Yeah, so I work with a company called Replace Your Mortgage. I'm not going to pitch their services here, but it's just a number of people that are very like-minded individuals. They're looking for ways to leverage the equity in their home to build wealth. And so a lot of them didn't want to be landlords. And so they were looking to, borrow at 3 or 4% and lend out at 10% or higher. And so a lot of my private lenders have come from those sources. And, I've been at that for about 3 years. And so that's actually, one source has referred me to another. And before long from, raising money, it really starts to build momentum. My wife's sitting here in my office, and so I'm going to have to give her a shout out because she's a real estate agent and she works with investors in the Metro Detroit area. She manages investors' Airbnbs. And so some of those investors are always looking for ways to get a return on their capital. And so she's turned me on to a number of private lenders. In fact, just the other night, I had a call with him, another $50,000 commitment for a facility that we're under contract on in Indianapolis. So you just start to kind of build momentum. And so we raised from that community of partners that we had, and we were able to, bring them in on that deal for the one in LaPorte, Indiana.
Are you kind of like syndicating for this deal that you're looking at, or how are you handling the deal? Is that kind of
I am. Yeah, I am syndicating. That's exactly the best way to put it. I got to be careful about that because I don't publicly raise money, and I don't publicly make commitments for returns and stuff like that. You can get in some trouble with the SEC. So all of these capital partners, they are personal relationships with me. I've worked with them, some of them multiple years. I consider them family friends. And so, it's very organic. It's an organic way of, working with existing clients, and it comes up where, they're looking for ways to get a better return on their investment. So I think, Stacy has started her own fund. It's something that my partner and I have talked about because my partner's really out raising a lot of money, and he's had a lot of success. So we're very seriously, if we can get a good solid deal flow going, we're very serious about starting our own fund and going down that same path that Stacy has gone on. So I wanted to show you here. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen there.
Yeah, we can.
So this is kind of interesting. I'm pretty sure that this is Guy is posting stuff to our Google page, but this is the self-storage facility. This is my first facility, And so what you're seeing here, bigger garages is our branding for all of our facilities. And you can see here's a picture of it with some information there. And obviously we've claimed our Google business. And so this is the 3,000 square foot office space. Like I said, it pays us about $3,000 a month. And with the interest only payment, the property cash flows without the storage. And then this is the storage building. It's about 32 units. And today, what we closed in November of last year. And so what's it been, 5 months now? Going on 6, I guess. We are 100% full. So all 32 units are completely full and all of the tenants are paying. And then you can see here, one of the things that attracted us to this deal, other than, the almost guaranteed income from the commercial space, is it has a lot of land. And so we currently have plans approved at the state level, but we've gotten some pushback from our neighbors and from the municipality about building additional storage out here. So there's been some concerns about rain runoff and drainage, and believe it or not, one of the neighbors was concerned about building a building right here along the road that would block the view of the intersection here. So we do think we're going to get 2 more buildings on this land, and that'll hopefully get us up to about 74 units. And then once that's built out and stabilized, then we'll have 74 units total. So a little bit about running the facility. Actually, I'll go, this is our Bigger Garage Self-Storage website. So Stacy will probably recognize this. Another thing that I got from the StorageNerds program was her marketing person. So he's been amazing. He puts together this website, that you see here. It does somewhat integrate with storage. So if you go to rent storage unit here, you can see that, you can see actually that Carlton is the one we just bought. Right here's LaPorte. So you can go down here, you say, I want to rent a storage unit in LaPorte. And then this new tab, this is actually taking you, this is storage. So this gives, it flashed the storage rental center, but it's got our little logo there. And right now you can see we're we're all filled up. So there's no availability in LaPorte. So both facilities and eventually all of our facilities will be on this website. It's got a map here, and there's a lot of thought that's gone into marketing of how this website's designed, and even down to apparently Smiling Faces has a better likelihood of them clicking on the button and signing up versus not. So anyway, we're super excited. This has only been live for maybe a week because we moved away from the website, kind of the stock website that storage provides you. And you end up saving up quite a bit of money because this website is one fee for all of our facilities, whereas storage, they charge you per website. And Stacey, I think you've already moved over. Yours has probably looked very similar, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we have 11 facilities. Just think about how much that would cost if we actually use storage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, that's my first facility. We financed it with a local community bank, commercial lender, just somebody that we connected with. And then, we're using storage. And so I'll let me see here. I can bring up storage. You can just, it's fms.com. I'll bring it up here and I'll give you a view of what storage looks like. So far, we've had a great experience with storage. Oh, come on. And I'm going to switch the facility over to LaPorte. So the occupancy isn't correct because I've gotten probably ahead of myself. I've already added the 74 units. And then we do have, looks like some people that are past due, but we've got 25 tenants So we're all full up. Some of the features that we really like about this is this insurance. So this is something that we're now working on, where we're going to go through and we're going to try to get everybody onto insurance, whether it's private insurance that they provide or facility insurance that provides us some residual income. And so this integrates with storage, and we can go through and we can get residual income from that. Another residual income that we get is we actually rent locks out to our tenants. And so through storage, you can set them up where we buy the locks for $10 a piece. They're Da Vinci locks, and we rent them out for $2.50. So you think about, your break even on that. Basically, the locks that we buy are for free. And then we overlock our tenants with the locks that basically they bought for us. And that's the way we're going to manage our new Carlton facility and the one there in Indianapolis that we just went under contract on. So I guess that's all I've got for Find It, Fund It, and Run It. For LaPorte, I'll open the floor for any questions on that facility, and then I'll move on. I've got I wouldn't call it a slide, but I put together a document that talks a little bit more about the facility that we just closed on a week or two ago.
Great. Yeah, if you have any questions, put them into the chat. We'll get to them, and you could just keep on moving, I think.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let me see here if I can just bring up the chat so that I can keep an eye on it here. Okay, there we go. What was the name of that source? What source is that? How do you reuse locks that others have keys to? Okay, so that's one thing. None of the locks that we use have keys. They are combination locks, and those combination locks can be reset. And in our lease, it has instructions for how the tenant can set the combination to their own combination, and then before we return their security deposit, they have to set the combination back to all zeros. So that's how we and we have not yet had any people forgetting their combination, but we do have a $50 lock cut fee that it dissuades them from forgetting it. So a good question. There's a question about the bank, the mortgage. So it was a small community bank in Indiana. Unless you're in Indiana, it wouldn't make sense for you to tell, for me to tell you who it is. In fact, to tell you the truth, I don't even remember what the name of it is here. Just a minute. I got a bill from them. Community First Bank of Indiana. So it's just a really small community bank. There are some larger lenders out there. And Stacy, I think what is the rule of thumb is anything above $500,000, you can, work with a different, some of the larger nationwide lenders. To be honest with you, we really enjoy working with local commercial banks. This facility that we're under contract in Indianapolis to purchase, we're working with the same lender that we just closed on the facility in Michigan. And so, they've been great to work with, and that facility is going to be $1.1 million. So, they'll do 75% loan to value on that. Okay. Looks like that might be all of the questions. Let me just scroll up here. Yeah, that's all the questions. Okay. So I'm going to go over to, this is what I pulled together for Carlton. So you saw on the map,
I think
Carlton,
we're still, oh, sorry. I was going to say we're still on LaPorte, but I see it now. It came up. Okay. Did it come up? Yeah. So how did we find this one? So we actually found this through a wholesaler. So if you're familiar with a wholesaler, they basically are they find the deals from motivated sellers, and then they assign contracts out to buyers. And then, we pay an assignment fee. And believe it or not, we paid $100,000 assignment fee on this deal. And the numbers worked well for us. So it would have been great if we could have found it before these guys did, which is what our goal is.
But, if the numbers work, everybody makes money. And so, yeah, we paid $100,000 assignment on this. And actually, we were initially passed up on this deal. The wholesaler was going to try to get a cash deal done, but the cash deal backed out when he found out how much work it was going to be on this facility. And so we got a second chance on that. Stacy, I think I saw this was posted in the StorageNerds group actually after we went under contract, because Stephen was out hawking it on Facebook again. So anyway, that's how we found it, through a wholesaler. So Fund It. This was a commercial bank, Alliance Bank, another small local bank in Indiana. And this is what some of our terms. It was 75% loan to value. Unfortunately, we really fought to get an interest only for 12 months, and they wouldn't do it. But we were very lucky, because a lot of times facilities like that, the lenders won't touch it if you can't get some documentation from the current owners. And the current owner, or the seller, ran it literally as a cash business and never reported any of the income. And so there were no tax returns to be had on this deal. And so this bank actually financed it without tax returns. So we were very, very lucky.
Paul, why did you use this lender instead of your other one that you had?
Because this lender was willing to finance in Michigan, whereas the other lender that did the Indiana deal, they are Indiana only. And believe it or not, we were really surprised that this lender, based in Indiana, and my partner and I had done some deals with this company, or this bank in Indiana. We were really surprised that they were willing to do this in Michigan. And they actually sent one of their people up to meet me, because I live in Metro Detroit. She and I met out at the facility. I walked her through the facility, and they asked a lot of questions and did a lot of underwriting, but ends up being a great deal. 4.5% fixed for 10 years with a 25-year amortization. So principal and interest payments, that's the only downside. So we'll probably kind of out of pocket a little bit in the first few months as we stabilize, but and I'll get to it here in just a minute. We've really, it's about 50% occupied, so we've really made some pretty good progress in a very short period of time. So this is the remaining of it that we raised. Let's see here, $295,000 from partners. So I had 4 partners, and then my partner and I, because this deal is so sweet, my partner and I actually put some money into this deal. So my partner and I each put $15,000 in. And so each of us own 33.75% of the deal. And then you add the 1.5% that onto our equity for the cash that we put into it. So it's going to be a very, very good deal. And our partners they're going to have a very handsome return on the deal once it's all stabilized. So we're using storage for this. I added a screenshot down here. This is from today, so it's pretty up to date. But we're using the marketing company, the same marketing company that I mentioned for Laporte. It's on the same website. We've got a Google My Business, and we're using Google Ads to attract new tenants. We're less than a month. We closed on it a few weeks ago, and we've been able to collect about 70% of rents from existing owners. The facility is about 50% occupied out of about 130 units. Let's see here, 130 units, 129 units with 10 parking spots. So the business plan is that we're going to raise rents all up to market. The owner was very reluctant to raise rents, and we've even found that the owner was, if you paid 3 months in advance, you got the 4th month free. And so a lot of these people were paying far, far, far below market rents. So we've already gotten rid of that policy. And I would say we'll probably give them a few months so that we can get all of the vacant units rented out according to market rent. And then once everything's rented to market, then we'll go through and we'll just across the board raise everybody up to market. And then we'll probably have a few people leave. We've already had a few people threaten to leave if we raise rents, but that's why we like to fill it up according to market, so we know what the market will be. And once we get up, just like we did at LaPorte, we'll be 95, 90, 100% full, and then we'll bring everybody up to full market rent.
So what are you doing to market and find tenants?
Yeah, so like I said, we're using Guy's marketing, his search engine optimization, his Google My Business marketing, and we're using Google Ads. I've been reluctant to use Sparefoot. We used Sparefoot at LaPorte, and we did fill up that facility pretty quickly using Sparefoot. But as you are aware, it's very, very expensive. And we had a lot of good luck towards the end at LaPorte using Google Ads instead of Sparefoot, even before we had our new website up and running. And so we've cranked up the Google Ads because it's about a quarter of the price of Sparefoot. And so I don't mind paying, $500 a month in marketing through Google Ads because, for a couple units rented up, that's what Sparefoot will cost. And I think that I'll be able to fill them up a lot faster with Google based on how much I'm spending in marketing. So that's what we're currently using. And this as well. Guy will do marketing on a lot of other platforms. So Bing and other search engines, Yelp, stuff like that. And he also helps post on Facebook, where we keep our social media refreshed with new posts around the holidays and such. That helps you bubble up on the search rankings. So that's our current strategy. We're just going to dump a huge amount of capital into marketing to get this guy filled up as fast as possible.
Now, when you were getting into storage investing, were you thinking like, oh man, I'm going to have to learn how to do search engine optimization and all the Google ads and stuff? Is this something you were thinking about, or is this something that's like, oh my gosh, now I got to do this?
I don't mind it. I'm kind of a small business mentality anyway. But, I'm not going to do a lot of the heavy lifting myself. My wife and I were out at this facility last night pretty late with the kids and, sweeping out units and stuff. And, it's good to try it once and get boots on the ground and get your feeling on what's going on. But, I try to hire out the things that I'm not good at or I don't want to do. And that's why it was a no-brainer for us to hire Guy and for his marketing expertise. It's well worth the money, especially after you use Sparefoot. I wrote a $2,500 check to Sparefoot to fill up LaPorte, and it'll take me 5 months to pay that to Guy. So it's just it makes a lot of sense just to find somebody that's really good at that, and they're able to do that heavy lifting. But it's a business,
what
right?
About
just
like all the auctions too? Sorry,
the auction. So actually, there's a company, and I don't know how much you want me to hawk different solutions here, but there's a company that we're working with called Late to Lean. And because our strategy is that we're going to try to build a portfolio where we can, not necessarily close to our homes. Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. I've got some family in Missouri, maybe Illinois, because between Missouri and Illinois, or between Missouri and Indiana is Illinois. But there's quite a few states that we're going to probably own property in, and I don't want to have to worry about knowing the lien laws in all these different states. And so there's a company called Late to Lean that they integrate with storage. And so once the tenants reach a certain point, you hand it off to them and they'll take it all the way out through the lien process and up to the point where they're ready for auction. and then they'll actually connect their system into the auction system. And so it's just another example. It's $15 per unit, which in our mind is a no-brainer because we charge $20 late fee, and we're not going to send every unit through late to lien if we think that we can get them back on track. But it's just not worth our time learning all of that or trying to hire somebody when it's $15 per unit. And making sure that we're following all of the different state laws with facilities in different states. It just makes sense.
Cool. I like it too. Yeah, we do all that in-house, but eventually, most likely, we'll be getting somebody else to do it. It's a lot of work, auction process. There's a lot of work.
Yeah, and making sure that you're compliant with local and state laws. You can get yourself in trouble.
Okay, we have a question that came up on the Q&A. I'm familiar with the wholesalers and currently use them for buying single-family homes. However, none of them have brought me any storage deals. Do you have a suggestion on finding deals besides wholesalers?
Yeah, join Stacy's group. She teaches you like nuts and bolts, soup to nuts, how to find your own deals. And my first deal, that's exactly how I found it. I took the script that she gave us, all of the tools, all of the information, and I went and found it myself. So it was, it's work, right? It's tough work, and once again, and maybe this is a good segue where I'll talk about. I've formed a new company called AMP Self Storage, and we're basically going to be a wholesale company. So the original idea behind AMP Self Storage was we need enough deal flow to keep up with our acquisition with our capital. And we're really into a position now where we have far more capital than we have deals. And so that's one of the reasons why, again, I don't want to be out finding deals, right? That's not something that I want to sit and do every day. And so we've formed a company and we've brought in some partners that will find deals, and we compensate them, handsomely. $100,000 assignment on a self-storage deal. All you have to do is assign one deal, and the rest of your sourcing of deals for the rest of the year can be paid for, right? And so that was the whole idea behind AMP Self Storage. So we've brought on our own virtual assistant. We've brought on our own marketing. We're using a lot of the strategies that Stacy has taught. Google Maps and Landglide and IDI skip tracing. There's a lot of tools out there to find your own deals and get in front of owners. I came from the residential world. I've never bought a single residential property that didn't come from a wholesaler. And so I'm very familiar with that environment. And I came from that. And so what I'll tell you is that there are far, far, far more wholesalers for residential property than there are for self-storage.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot of wholesalers that are self-storage. And I think the concept of wholesaling in the storage world is very new. And honestly, it's only really happened in the last couple of years. So is this something that you partnered with? Is this what you partnered with Alan in?
Alan, yeah, this is Alan again. Okay. Another benefit of being part of Stacy's group, right? Alan came in to one of our, I think it was a Tuesday webinar, and just basically said, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? And he's a marketer, and he already had a virtual assistant. He had already instituted some of the processes with the virtual assistant, trained them on how to use the tools. And so instead of building it ourselves, we just partnered with him. We gave him a little bit of equity to the company. We said, we'll do the underwriting. We'll do the part he doesn't want to do, and he can find the deals. We'll underwrite them, and then we'll both profit from it. And so
because that's what he wants to do, is he just wants to find deals. Yep,
exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things where I have no problem partnering with people that have complementary skills, right? I know how to do it. I did it. I found my first deal, and I did exactly the way AMP Self Storage does it on a regular basis. But I don't want to sit and do that every day, right? now I'm running self-storage facilities. I'm doing some underwriting, so we found somebody that's what they want to do. That's what gets them out of the bed every morning. So, I'm really hoping that AMP Self Storage will be able to grow it to be an active player in the self storage wholesale world. And, we'll know we've made it to the top if we wholesale deal to Stacy.
So now for your third deal, is that the one that you had, the one you have in your contract? Did you find that yourselves, or did you get that from a wholesaler?
Yeah. So no, that one, one of the things that my partner does that I've never really put much stock in it, because frankly, it's just frustrating to deal with brokers. I don't give brokers enough respect. But my partner, he is a hustler like me and a networking person, and he there's never a dead contact in his network. And so we actually had a broker bring this deal to us. It was off market, so it had never been posted on the internet or anything. And he brought it to my partner and said, "Hey, this guy's really motivated. Before we post it live on the internet, we'd like to give you a shot at it." And he said, "I've got 2 other buyers, but they're not super excited about the offers. What would you guys offer on it?" And so we did the underwriting, and we made sure that we had the money available in our network, and we put it under contract. And I think it's going to be a really great deal.
How big is that one? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's the warehouse alone is pretty large. I want to say the warehouse is like 10,000 square foot. And right now it has a tenant in it that is paying $3,000 a month, but the market says that it should be able to rent for almost $5,000 to $6,000 a month. So they're vacating in May, and so we're going to probably spend a couple months trying to get that warehouse rented out. But then it's got 74 units of self-storage on the property. And the units, they're about 80% occupied. And so there's not a lot of, stabilization there to be done, but they're way below market rents. So, but there's very, very little CapEx at all that's needed. The warehouse is in great shape. The storage is relatively new, in great shape. And just kind of a, what do they call, a tired landlord just wanted to dump the property. And so we gave him what he wanted, and we thought the numbers worked well for our kind of buy box, and got it under contract. I think it's 1.1 million, 74 units, about 10,000 square foot of warehouse space.
Okay, cool. When do you close on that?
I think I wired my earnest money today. I think that the closing is tentatively scheduled for the 3rd of June. So that's one thing that's different with storage. And you warned me about it, that these commercial deals, they take a long time. Usually a 60-day close is pretty standard. I've even seen 90. So June 3rd, I think, is the closing date for that one. And my partner and I are both very excited about it because we're back home in Indianapolis. It's in both of our networks. We've got a team on the ground in Indianapolis that can support that facility. And so we're really excited about that deal.
And so how are you? And now basically you're just out raising money for it as well.
Well, we've got, like I said, we've got more capital than we know what to do with. So now we're kind of to the point where we're trying to figure out, what's the expiration date on some of this funding. If they don't put it in one of our deals, they're going to go put it in another deal. So we're trying to figure that out and get them subscribed into the deal. And then, be honest with you, we're more focused on AMP self-storage and finding more deals. So we ended up through AMP, we got in contact with an owner in Terre Haute, Indiana. He was working with a wholesaler that was kind of blowing him off. And so we're hoping to get that one under contract. And then also through AMP, we found a self-storage facility in Elkhart, Indiana. And believe it or not, the lady refused to negotiate a price over the phone. She said, I'm really interested in selling my facility, but I want to know you're serious. And so I want you to come visit me. And so I'm getting ready to drive home to Indiana, visit my family for Easter. I leave here on Thursday, and we're going to drive down through Elkhart and stop and see her. And I'm going to have an LOI in my hand, and I've already floated to her on the phone a price of what we think we could buy it for. And she didn't say no. She didn't hang up on me. And so I'm going to bring my kids, and we're going to try to charm her and see if we can get a deal done there as well.
That's totally going to work. Bring the kids. They love it.
Oh, yeah. And my daughter, she's a little chatterbox. So she'll be in there, and the lady will completely forget about, selling her self-storage. She'll be ready to go. So we're very excited about that. We do anticipate that we're going to be able to get one of those deals or another one here under contract. Our goal is probably to do another 3 or 4 deals this year. We really want to try to get 10 deals done this year.
And so for your wholesaling company that y'all are setting up, what areas are y'all looking for, or are you going to be looking in so people know?
Sure. So right now we've got lists for Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Missouri. And we're also driving for storage in Illinois. So really in the Midwestern area, for those states. And we've really had the most luck. I think maybe it's just because that's where the VA started in Indiana. We've had a few leads in Michigan that we just couldn't come to agreement on the terms. But we'll be hitting Ohio and Missouri pretty hard here because we feel like we've really wrung out Indiana. Although my partner just was sending me a message today that apparently we've got a source of leads, free leads, through a library. And I'm not sure where he got these, about 3,000 self-storage facilities in Indiana through somehow getting them up through a library. So we're going to feed that into our AMP self-storage machine and get the VA calling those and see if we can get any of those under contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something that I'm seeing more and more in StorageNerds too as well. It's like once you really learn how to find facilities, you can find them for yourself, and then you can easily find them for other people as well too. I mean, this is what we've been doing. So that's because I know Azim is in the group as well too, and Azim has hired virtual assistants, and he's out on the West Coast and he's looking for facilities as well. So if you're interested, this like appeases to you, like, setting up a company where you could wholesale self-storage. This is another thing that you could definitely learn in StorageNerds, because you're going to learn how to really, the whole process, and you're going to be able to utilize that to help other people as well.
Yep.
So
there's a question in the group, share us more about your new acquisition. Is that the one in Michigan, the Carlton facility? Yes. Okay. Sure. So, if I go down here, I mean, this is the website, right? So you can see these are the pictures on storage. Let me go in here and we'll just switch facility over to Carlton. So this gives you kind of an idea. This is not much different than, and I'll just go into units. This might be interesting. To give you guys kind of an idea. So one of the things that Storage does, it has this really great map. You have to build this map yourself, but you can actually drag, the unit mix over, and you can see this is the 3 buildings. So there's a 300 building, there's a 200 building, and I guess the 10s, less than 100 building. And then in the property, and I can show you a satellite view of it, there is space down the middle here for a 4th building. And the owner actually gave us the plans to the plans that were approved back in the 90s to build a fourth building down the middle. So that's one of the things that we might consider doing in the future is building another building down the middle. But you can see here that we've got, some 5x10s. We've got some 10x10s. We have a couple of 4 20x20s, and then a few more, which are, I think these are 10x20s. And then a huge number of 5x15s, and then 10x15s, and then more 10x15s and 10x15s in this building as well. So if I go over here to groups, this is a great way to visualize it as well. And you can see these are what our rates are. So 16 5x10s, 40 5x15s. We have this one unit. It's a 5x15, but somebody built a shelf in it in the back. And so we're just charging an extra $5 for the 5x10 that has a shelf in it. I don't know if that'll fly or not, but we thought, well, we'll try it. There's, we've got 12 10x10s, 15 10x15s, and we actually have two different 5x15 or 10x15s. So what the owner realized is that the 10x15s sell a lot better than the 5x15s. And so what the owner did is they took the wall down between the 5x15s and they made it a 10x15. Now, what we've heard from some of our tenants as we've been out there working is that they don't like having that dual door. They want one big door, which, it is what it is. And so we might end up having to lower the price on these. I don't know, because they're dual units. If the marketing works and we're able to fill this up fast, we may just convert these back to 5x15s, because if you look at, revenue per square foot, the smaller units actually give you more money per square foot. And so I'd really love to be able to convert all of these back to 5x15s and rent them out for more per door. But that's the way they're configured today. And you can see these little signs that they're vacant. And then some of these are delinquent. So we've got quite a few that need trash outs. The doors need fixed. There's quite a bit of CapEx that needs to go into the facility. So I've got 8 10x20s, and then these 9 10x20s are actually this is parking, I think. Oh no, right here. These 900s. This is parking, and we're still trying to work through the parking situation. And then we've got 2 different parking spots that are pretty large spots. And maybe I'll go back I'll show you on the map how those parking spots align. And then we have 4 20x20s that are like the 2-car garage door type. And a lot of them have like 2 boats or 2 cars or something like that. Okay. So that gives you kind of the unit mix and the different, these are standard rates, right? These are the standard rates. I wish I could show you, how much that some of them are going for. It's quite surprising how far below market they really are. But you can see here that, like I said, we're about 38%. We've owned it for about 2 weeks, and we've been able to make it through most of the tenants, and we only have a handful of people really left that are behind. Out of 53 tenants, 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 tenants left to go out of 53. So we're making good progress. It's a process. And like I was talking to Stacy earlier, I think this is the hardest part of the entire deal, is stabilizing the facility. Once it's stabilized, the LaPorte facility, we hardly ever get calls. It's full. The tenants pay. Many of the tenants are on auto pay. And so, we might have 1 or 2 that we got to chase down because they're late. But other than that, I mean, it's very turnkey. And we just, It's once you have the processes in place and the marketing in place and the place is filled up and full, it's very easy to run. But stabilizing, that's the hard work that has to be done.
Thank you so much, Paul. Okay, so really before we end, and just real fast, so kind of just give everybody like a synopsis of like your year in StorageNerds, so people can kind of have an idea like what happened over the past year and a half that you've been there.
Yeah, so like I said, I joined in November. I think I was one of the last people that joined when Stacy was still taking the calls directly, because Stacy actually called me directly, and we had a really great conversation. So I signed up in November, I think, of 2020. During 2020, I, like many residential real estate investors, I got a little spooked because of the eviction moratorium. And so I was just looking to diversify into storage. Storage is in high demand even today, and there's still not enough storage out there. So it's a great asset class to be part of. And so instead of teaching myself what I needed to know to be successful in storage, I decided that I wanted to, buy the education. And it's been a great experience with Stacy. My first deal that I got under contract, it was from a wholesaler, and it ended up falling through. And I think we may have had one other deal that fell through. Remember the Flint one? Stacy, you had brought us a Flint deal that we just couldn't get done.
Yeah.
And so, it can be frustrating, right? It can be frustrating. Stacy knows this, that if you're trying to find deals on your own, you're going to call potentially hundreds of owners, and a very small percentage of them are even going to be open to selling. And then even out of that small percentage of the ones that are open to selling, only a few of them you're going to be able to get a deal done. Maybe one or two that you're going to be able to get deal done. But, it is a numbers game. The more people you call, the more driving for storage you do, the more calls you make, the more owners you talk to, the more likely you're going to get a deal done. And so it just didn't quit. I've leveraged, you could see, everything that I've learned from Stacy. This website came from her marketing contact. We're working with StorageNerds. Jennifer, the storable contact that she gave us, we work directly with Jennifer. I've been able to collaborate with some of the other students to start new businesses. So it's just been a super valuable experience over the past year and a half of being in that group. I went down to Georgia, and we had a chance to go driving for storage together. And then actually my partner lives in New York. And so my partner and I and our wives were able to go driving for storage with Stacy in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So that was a great experience, and meeting the other students that were on the trip, and, collaborating with them. So, it's been a great experience, and I would encourage anybody. All of this you can learn on your own, but it just takes a lot of time. And if you're wanting to get this done fast and you want to move quickly, it's worth the money to invest to learn this from somebody that's doing it and has been very successful doing it.
Yeah, and then you have such a great community too, because we have so many people in the community now. They're just doing deals together and partnering and wholesaling and whatever too. So it's great.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for hanging out with us today and going over your deals. Congratulations on your next deal. And I know many more to come. It gets addicting, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. I just can't wait to get another one under contract.
You already have one under contract.
Well, we got to get another. Got to keep going. That W-2 job's not going to quit itself.
Right, exactly. So, okay, everybody else, thank you for hanging out. I'm going to hop onto my next session, which is my fund. And I think Ariel Lynn put the link into the chat. So if anybody wants to hear me out on the Self-Storage Fund of America, hop on and I'll be pitching that for the next 30, 45 minutes or something. Okay. Thank you guys for hanging out today. And I will see you guys at the next session. Bye, Paul.
Yep. See ya. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.